Central Corridor is a multi-modal transport network that links the port of Dar es Salaam to the countries that don't have direct access to the sea. Here I mean the Republic of Burundi, the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Uganda. Those are the countries that are covered under Central Corridor. But we do also have other countries that use these ports, but which are not part of Central Corridor. Here I mentioned Zambia and Malawi. So in a nutshell, Central Corridor is these multimodal transport networks. When I say networks, I mean road transport, railway, inland waterways, and even air transport.
The Transport Observatory is a digital performance monitoring tool developed to monitor the performance of the Central Corridor. Implemented since 2012 under the technical and financial support from Trademark East Africa, it helps in providing key and reliable information to policymakers and users to facilitate the formulation of policies and decisions. The Transport Observatory portal features about 38 key performance indicators that are categorized as follows: transit times and delays, volume and capacity, cost of services and transport, productivity and efficiency, greenhouse gas emissions, and safety. The Transport Observatory involves data collection, data processing and analysis, reporting and dissemination, and finally coming up with recommendations that influence policy formulation through evidence-based findings. The Transport Observatory has signed data exchange MOUs with stakeholders to ease data collection processes. Through these agreements, Transport Observatory has advanced its data sharing mechanism to an automated technology that eases the process, reduces human interventions, and improves the quality of the shared information on a timely basis. Other Transport Observatory data sources include regular road transport surveys and field visits, while secondary data sources include policy documents and reports.
So welcome, this is a brief explanation of the ESB. So this is the studio tool that is used to design or create the different modules or endpoints that are going to be used by the ESB. So as you can see on the screen, we have the start point where you have a welcome message. Then we have a call mediator that calls the URA endpoint. So this is an example of an endpoint that has been exposed by Uganda Revenue Authority. So we access data from that particular endpoint. Then we process that particular data here. We get the fields that we want as requested. Then we call the ESB to be able to insert that particular data. And then once the ESB is done, it sends notification to the system administrator that data has been inserted successfully. So what's going to happen is that we're going to have this particular integration flow for each and every data provider. So for TPA, we'll have another endpoint that says TPA endpoint. For Rwanda Revenue Authority, the same thing, we'll have another endpoint for Rwanda Revenue Authority. So those endpoints that's going to be exposed by the data provider, we're going to consume the endpoints from this integration flow. Here we have a demo of how the data provider can also use this particular tool to be able to design endpoints. So as you can see, this is Uganda Revenue Authority data service that exposes data and that can be consumed by the integration flow. Then we have what we call a data service that now inserts our data into the ESB data warehouse. So once that data is inserted from here, so is this one, SysO data service is this part in the integration flow. Okay, this part, so where you insert that particular data. So once that is inserted into the data warehouse, what we have is we use that particular data to be able to generate such reports. So on the public portal, we'll be able to generate indicators that users can view from these particular data that you have pulled from the different authorities or from the different data providers. Okay, so this tool is what you're going to use to be able to design that. So the ESB is based with the technology called WSO2, which is an open source technology, and it's what we're going to use to be able to design the integration with the different data providers. So expectation is that the data providers will provide endpoints with the data that we have requested, and then the ESB can consume those particular endpoints. So we can have a push where the data provider pushes data, and also you can have a pull where we pull data from the data provider. Okay, thank you.
Hello, this is a demo to explain how this application is of use. So the first thing that a user is required to do after installation is to log in. The user is only required to log in once, but they can log in again, that is if they log out first. So on the same view, the user can change the language that they will prefer the application to continue with. So the languages that are there is English, Kiswahili and French, and if you choose on a different language, the application will automatically change the language of itself, so that the user can proceed with the preferred language. So let's stick to English first. Then the user will enter the username and the password. These are credentials that are provided by the administrator of the backend. Once they enter that, they click on login. Then the application tries to sync for any configurations that are linked to the account and any questionnaire that they can fill along the journey. Once they are logged in, they can start a journey by clicking on the green button. On this form, the full names and the registration numbers are auto-picked by the application from the profile that they logged in with, but they can edit it to whichever they want to edit it. And then they can enter where they are starting their journey from. So let's say I'm starting from Dar es Salaam, and then let's say they are going to Burundi. Then here they select, or they can search for the city that they are going to. So let's say they are going to Bujumbura. Here what is next is they say if it's an original trip or if it's a return trip. If it's original, they can proceed. If it's a return trip, they need to specify the trip that they are returning from. Then they can click on save and start journey. Then the user is asked for acceptance of the conditions that this application will track them from the start of the journey to where they end. If they decline, they cannot be able to proceed, but if they agree, the journey is then created. The application has the ability to auto stop and auto resume in the journey. That means that if you stay in a particular place for more than 3 minutes, it will automatically register it as a stop. And if you move for a very long distance, or if your speed moves from 0 to more than 5 meters per second, it will presume that you have resumed your journey. But at the same time, the application allows the user to create a stop by themselves, that is if it hasn't created one for them. So we'll click on add stop. Here the user selects the stop type. Here they can search for the kind of stop type that they want to register. Here they say the reason in terms of details. So let's say here it's border checks. And then here they say if they have made any payment with the currencies that are there. And then here they can say if they want to upload an image, either by taking an actual picture or picking one from the gallery, and then they can say save and submit. Then the application will automatically pick the stop locations and send it to the backend.